Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today, my YouTube channel turns 13 years old. Happy birthday me. And over that time, I've gained about 2 million subs-ish, 500 million views, and a whole bunch of experience. So today I thought I'd give you 13 lessons that I've learned from my 13 years on YouTube being a content creator. Number 1, niche is king. If you can find a niche that you can execute in, you can be better in that niche than other people in your same genre, then you are set up for success. And often, the niches that you're most suited to will align with what you most enjoy. If you've got a sport that is a favorite hobby of yours, or maybe you really like a certain video game, or maybe you're really into a certain type of fashion, or maybe it's makeup related, or whatever it might be, if it's something that you're already passionate about, there's a good chance that living in that world and experiencing that thing that you love so much, you're going to have picked up some knowledge about it, some expertise about it, some kind of instincts and intuition about it over time. So utilize that to your advantage and double down on niches rather than trying to be diverse and broad with all of your content. Oh, it's insanely hot in the UK today, so forgive me if I'm a little sweaty. That's actually the first bonus tip of this episode though, and that's that none of this matters. My nice camera, my fancy microphone, my clothing, my background, my lighting, it's sort of important, but it's the last thing on the list. You're not sticking around watching this video because I've got some nice lights. Maybe it's pleasing your subconscious, but if the thing trying to occupy the forefront of your mind is boring, i.e. this content, you're just going to click off. It's an easy fallacy to fall into, but creators maketh content, not equipment. Speaking of which, to choose which content you should make, you need to start thinking title and thumbnail first in this day and age. It used to be that you could make a video and you knew it was good because the content in it was good, and then after the fact, you just whack on a title and thumb and call it a day. But the world doesn't work that way anymore. YouTube's landscape has changed so much in the last 10 years, and these days, the confluence between having high click-through rate based on having a very good title and thumbnail, and also having a high average view duration, i.e. the title and thumbnail correctly describe and advertise that content so that when someone clicks, they feel like they haven't been lied to, that's the magic formula. And it's significantly harder to do content first and then find a perfect title and thumb these days, especially because a lot of the time when you're making the content, you'll want to be creating the thumbnail almost part of that process anyway. You might need to take pictures of what you're doing, or you might need to be taking screenshots or creating images or whatever that are going to end up in the thumbnail anyway, so leaving it to last just sets you back. Number 3 is use each platform's strengths to your advantage. So if I'm on TikTok, I'm not jumping on the live streaming feature. If I'm on Snapchat, I'm definitely not posting long form content. And this all sounds obvious, but then you can look at it a little bit more deeply and say, if I am on TikTok, I'm going to get a huge amount of eyeballs, impressions on my content, but those viewers won't be sticky. They're not going to really feel like my brand is that strong on a short form video platform where you're only seeing 10, 20-second videos from a certain creator, and it's amongst thousands of other videos. You're constantly scrolling and seeing stuff from other people. You're not going to really lock into that person's thing in the same way that you might do on YouTube, where you just jump on their channel and binge their entire channel because you really like one particular video they did. So for eyeballs on content, I really recommend TikTok right now. For discoverability, YouTube is absolutely better than Twitch for live streaming, in my opinion. YouTube ad rates will also be significantly better than somewhere like Twitch, but the culture on Twitch is significantly better than on YouTube. So there's positives, there's pros, there's cons in different places. A really powerful funnel is to use something like TikTok to get eyeballs and then to drive those people to other platforms where you make more consistent and longer form content to try and bring them into your family, so to speak. Number 4, reach out to brands with a clear problem of theirs that you can solve, or just at least with a clear plan. Some of my earliest brand deals were just random things that happened to come through my inbox, and they weren't really that suited to my channel. They weren't brands that I particularly wanted to work with. It was just money to pay the bills. And that's fine, but if you've got a brand in mind that you'd love to work with, a decent amount of the time, you can just reach out to them, find a contact email, find someone that does community management for their company or something like that, and try and establish a dialogue with a clear plan. If you just say, I want some brand deals, it's not going to go anywhere, is it? But if you hit them up and you say, I've noticed that your TikTok presence is a little lacking. I've got a lot of your products, for instance, and I'd love to do some videos showing them off as part of my setup, or maybe it's as part of my daily routine in the mornings before I go to work, or whatever it might be. Propose a plan, propose a structure, and give them a price. And the worst thing that happens is they don't respond. The next worst thing that happens is they just say no. Oh well, keep working. Who knows? In 6 months' time, maybe they'll be saying yes. Imposter syndrome has to go out of the window though. Seriously, you just have to put yourself out there. You're a freelancer, you're a content creator, you are your own boss here. You have to fight your battles. Number 5, the easiest path to success is what's already succeeding. This sounds so obvious, but people just don't clock on. They think that they have to make something completely unique that no one's ever done before. The world will be amazed and surprised and delighted at this completely novel creation. Nah, don't bother. Especially when you're a newer creator, you don't have the intuition yet to necessarily know what's a banger and what's a flatline, boring, unclicked video. Something that just goes off to the content graveyard and never gets seen. And it's your job as someone starting out, whether you're a streamer or a YouTuber or whatever you are, to build up that intuition in your brain so that you know what works on each platform, what's going to improve your AVD, what's going to make your click through a little less strong, what's going to make the most powerful call to action when you're working with a brand. All these sorts of things are stuff that you need to get from experience. But if you tell yourself you have to do things that no one else has ever done, you're excluding all the successful things that everyone else has always done from stuff that you're allowed to do. It doesn't make sense. There's a reason why MrBeast has inspired thousands of copycat channels that do basically the same thing that he started doing a couple of years ago. And it's because MrBeast found a formula that was extremely successful, but was replicable. And so, of course, people started replicating a winning formula. It's working for a reason. Number 6, ask what your friends earn and then assume they are being severely underpaid. I've got friends that have been making content for 6, 7, 8 years now. And even in the last year or two, I've had conversations with them where they've mentioned how much they're getting paid. And I'm like, mate, you are getting ripped off. And they're like, what are you talking about? I spoke to my other mate, and that's exactly what he's getting paid for the same work. And I'm like, you're both getting ripped off. Just because your friend is also getting ripped off doesn't mean that you have to be as well. It's a real problem where content creators have a very small sample size of people they can speak to about what rates they're getting from brands or from agencies. But the number of times I've seen especially small creators get completely mugged because they think that they're getting a good deal just because someone else has also thought that they were getting a good deal, because someone else thought that they were getting a good deal. There's someone else out there getting 5, 6 times the amount of pay for the same work. It feels awkward to ask for a lot of money. I get it. But if you're providing a lot of value, you deserve to be paid a lot of money for the value you're driving. So ask for that moonshot price, like triple the expectation of what you think you should be getting paid, and ask for it. And if they come back and say, nah, it's out of budget, say, all right, how can we adjust the deliverables so that I can provide an amount of value that matches what you are able to pay? Don't just say, all right, I'll just do the same thing for like 10% of the price. Nah. Don't do that. Don't sell yourself short. It's not worth it. Time for another bonus tip. If an agency ever comes to you and says, this brand deal is a low-paying deal, but it will build a relationship with the brand so you can get work from them in the future, run away. It's a scam. Well, it's not really a scam per se, but it's just bad business practice. What's actually happening is that agency is trying to squeeze as much out of their budget as they can. So they're trying to get as many extra creators on board as possible so they can go back to the brand and renew their partnership with the brand. It's the agency representing the brand that is doing that. It's not about you, and it never will be about you. I've lived through this so many times. It's just not worth taking a pay cut for potential future work. Don't do it. Crikey, I am so warm. Number 7, look for what moves the needle and double down on it. If you try 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 different videos and only one of them works, make that same video again, but slightly change one thing. But literally create that video as if you're trying to serve the exact person that just watched the thing that did well. It's like making a sequel or making a spin-off. There's a reason that stuff works. And the reason that stuff exists is because the original thing worked so well that it already built a bit of an audience, a bit of an identity in the sort of online zeitgeist. And you now are going to try and tap into that, because it's working and continue serving those people. If you can make viewership loops on your channel where someone watches one video and then they're very, very keen to watch another one of your videos, either because it relates so well to that content or because that video was so good that they're just inspired to watch more of stuff from you, you've built a winning machine there and you need to keep it going. Number 8. Sunk costs get smaller as you grow, or at least they should. When you're a small creator, like I mentioned earlier, you don't have that creator intuition built just yet. And so you need to throw yourself at a project, work really hard on it, try posting it, see what works, see what doesn't, it's probably not going to work, and then try again. You need to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. You need to be tenacious. You need to have drive. You need to be hungry. And only once you've exhausted all of the possibility that it's your own mistakes, your own inexperience causing that particular thing to not work, that you should stop, reflect, and say, actually, the core idea itself is wrong. You need to sink a greater cost when you are smaller because of the fact that you don't have that intuition telling you what works and what doesn't. But as you begin to grow, you should start knowing what's going to be successful or knowing that you're mostly in the right place with a given idea. Maybe you try a series or something and it starts off a little wonky. You need to have the intuition as you grow to say, actually, I'm cutting this. It's a bad idea. And I tried it once. That was enough. I don't need to sink more time into it. My sunk cost is smaller. Bonus tip. Don't make series content. So many people make this mistake. I've made this mistake so many times. It basically is never a good idea. Just believe me on this. Your kind of gut feeling when you start out is like, oh, I'll make this 6 series and it'll be amazing. Because it gives you a mental framework to consistently do the same thing and tweak it and improve it. And that's fine. But you just need to abstract that process from the series itself. Still do that tweaking and improving and iterating kind of format in your mind and in your process, in your workflow, but just don't call it a series. Make every video unique. Make every video a new opportunity for people to jump in and say, this was the first thing I watched from this creator, but it banged and I want more. Number 9, easy one this, uploading hacks don't matter. So time of day of upload. A lot of the time, day of upload, like day of the week. Those sorts of things are things that you really don't need to be worrying about with any great amount of brain power until you're a much larger creator. When you're a smaller creator, the only thing that matters is your impressions leading to clicks and leading to long viewership. And getting those impressions can come from driving people over from another platform, or it can come from jumping into a niche that you know is already successful. But you uploading on a certain day of the week because you imagine that more people are watching videos on Fridays isn't going to help you when you're just getting started. Number 10, drop the David versus Goliath mindset. This is another thing that hinders so many channels that are getting started. They see larger creators and in their subconscious, they're jealous. They're almost frustrated by the fact that that larger creator can do seemingly anything they want and get away with it. And they can be lazy and they can do things the community don't want. All those kind of sentiments, as soon as those start popping into your head, you need to push them out because you're just being toxic and you're pushing the blame for why your content isn't succeeding and why life isn't fair off your own shoulders and onto theirs. It's a very, very easy mistake to make. I've seen so many creators do this. I did it myself. I remember so distinctly back in the day, I was making some content during maybe 2011 or 2012, and I saw Ali A doing something. He was massive at the time. He's even bigger now. He's actually having a kid. Congrats, Ali. That's really cool. I'm so happy for you. But I saw this massive creator doing something that I, a smaller creator, wasn't able to do. And it infuriated me. I was annoyed and I hit him up on Skype. God, that dates me, doesn't it? And I said, Ali, like this just isn't fair. What's going on? And he was like, Milo, this is my job. And I was like, oh wait, I'm just being a dick. It's such an easy trap to fall into because mentally it's so much more comfortable. But realistically, you're only gonna grow and improve as a creator if you shoulder the blame yourself for why your stuff isn't working. It's not that other content creators in the genre have poisoned the scene, have changed people's opinions so that they're wrong or bad. It's not that those people are making lazy content. Like, none of that exists. It's all an illusion in your mind. And the reality that you need to try and internalize is that your content isn't working 9 times out of 10 because it's not ready to work. It's bad right now, and that's okay, because everyone starts off a bit naff at making YouTube videos or streaming or whatever. It takes time. It takes thousands of hours of practice. It takes consistency. It takes dedication. It takes sacrifice. It takes all of these things. And you will not get a fast, instant ticket to stardom just because you think that a big content creator has fallen off and that they're to blame for you never getting any views. It's not how it works. Number 11, burnout is always one step ahead of you. And for that reason, you need to constantly be mindful of it. I've dealt with some serious burnout over the years. It's very, very, very uncomfortable. You sit down at your desk, you look at your screen, and you feel like you're gonna throw up. Like, it can actually get that bad. Just the idea of having to creatively squeeze more blood out of the rock is so horrible to you, such an abhorrent idea, that you'd rather literally just go lie face down in a field outside. It's bad sometimes. And this can happen in basically any job. Don't get me wrong. You can be doing something completely unrelated to content creation and still be burned out. I'm not saying that you can't. But what I am saying is that when it's a creative medium, it is a different kind of burnout in my view. Writer's block is a really nice way to illustrate it, right? What do writers do? They write. What do writers do when they have writer's block? Nothing. They literally can't put pen to page. And as a creator, that can happen to you as well. And so what you need to make sure you do is construct your life around your content in such a way that it is nourishing you and supporting you and supplementing your brain and your learning and your rest when you aren't in the middle of making the content itself. It's so vital. Get therapy, meditate a little bit, all those sorts of things. I really cannot stress this one enough. Number 12, your numbers don't define you. This is a trap a lot of creators fall into when they get started, they think that they found some kind of success, and then their numbers start going down. In that moment, it's so easy to go, oh my God, I'm falling off. I'm awful. I'm less funny than I used to be. I'm less entertaining. I'm less interesting. I've done a worse job here. But sometimes it's just the ebb and the flow of the universe. And that sounds wishy-washy, but it's completely legit. If you are riding a wave and it's getting taller and taller, so are you. That's great. But it's not because you're a sick surfer that the wave's getting bigger. It's because the wave's getting bigger. And at some point, the wave's gonna break and it's gonna crash onto the shore and you're suddenly no longer 20 feet in the air. And that doesn't make you a worse surfer. It's just life. The important thing is that you get back out into the water and you start looking for that next wave. And this happens to absolutely everyone in content creation. It happens to all communities, every single genre of content. This always happens. And it's crucial to remember. Your numbers do not define you. Your numbers are just a representation of how the channel's doing. You are not your channel. Number 13, you might suit a content creation adjacent role better than you suit the role of being the content creator. And there's no shame in that. In fact, I'm always looking for people to work with that are working in roles that supplement the work that I do and that support the work that I do, but don't completely overwrite it. I'm not just looking for another content creator. I might be looking for an editor, a script writer, maybe someone that can help me just with personal assistance, that kind of thing, staying on top of my tasks, a bit of admin. If your skill set aligns with one of those more so than it does with being the jack of all trades, the front man of the operation, on camera, writing the scripts, doing the lighting, doing the sound, doing the editing, doing the upload, doing the thumbnail. Like, I wear 20 different hats maybe, and it's not easy, and also it isn't suited to everyone's skill set. I'm a very confident person. I am very forthcoming. I am absolutely happy to walk up to anyone in the world and pitch myself if I need to, or to perform if I need to, in front of people if I need to stream with thousands of people there if I need to. I've got that experience, and it's something that I feel is my calling in life, is what I was meant to do. But for some folks, being in front of the camera is just not natural to them and doesn't feel like it will ever be natural. And in that case, it's totally valid to say, you know what, I'm going to try and become an editor because I want to be in the content creation world. I want to make this stuff happen. It's just that I don't want to be the face of it. it's fine. So if you're struggling as that content creator, but you still want to be a part of the industry and you want a piece of the pie, maybe look in a content creator adjacent role. So that's the list. If you want more content like this, let me know.